Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here are some of today's top stories. California is another step closer to implementing reparations for Black residents. Now it's up to state lawmakers and the governor to review the proposal. A seemingly half-serious tweet about an MMA cage fight between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg is becoming a growing possibility. The two CEOs have been spotted training. The LAPD recently received backlash over a leaked email. An officer wants to clean up homeless encampments by taking the unhoused into custody. California's Reparation Task Force, a first in the nation, just concluded its 2-year work. Members officially submitted documents to the state legislature, suggesting recommendations to compensate Black residents in what they call an apology to descendants of slaves. NTD's David Lam reports.
On June 29th, California's 9-member Reparations Task Force concluded its final report and had a meeting this morning. They proposed their findings to the officials. Now, the team was created 2 years ago by Governor Gavin Newsom to evaluate the impact that Black Californians have experienced.
So often when I was asked, when I was writing it, people said, California? Why California? And the issue often is why not? Because slavery in this nation went across the entire nation. People didn't just remain in the South. And the policies and the laws of this nation affected every state and many places beyond the state.
The team recommends a formal apology to descendants of slaves, financial compensation, as well as a new agency to oversee the reparations. Now, I spoke to several folks in California before, and they told me that direct cash payments wouldn't be ideal. One lady suggested a college fund instead. Another person was saying land or property would be better than cash payments. Now, although there was no recommended cash amount, the task force has previously provided a calculation of around $500 billion that the state would have to pay for reparations, which amounts up to $1.2 million for each qualified Black resident. Meanwhile, the state currently has a budget of nearly $300 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom previously said, quote, "Dealing with legacy is about much more than cash payments." Lawmakers and Newsom would have to agree before reparations would happen. And in other findings, based on a report from Reuters, all living U.S. presidents except Donald Trump had ancestors that owned slaves. This includes President Biden and former Presidents Obama, Bush, Clinton, and Carter. Trump's grandparents didn't migrate to the U.S. until slavery was abolished in 1865. Also today, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action programs. It was a 6-3 vote in the case with UNC and 6-2 for Harvard. Those are the nation's oldest public and private universities, respectively. The divided Supreme Court declared that race-based preferences in college admissions are unconstitutional. This requires institutions of higher education to look for new ways to achieve diverse student groups. David Lam, NTD News, California.
In the latest on a growing possibility of Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg, both entrepreneur billionaires have been seen training with the top mixed martial arts talent. And UFC's Dana White already showing off a Zuckerberg versus Musk t-shirt. NTD's Jason Blair brings us more.
Starting with a seemingly half-serious tweet by Elon Musk, an MMA cage fight between Musk and Meta's Mark Zuckerberg seems to be getting closer to becoming a reality. Both Musk and Zuckerberg have been seen training with podcaster and jiu-jitsu black belt Lex Friedman. Friedman said on YouTube on Sunday, quote, "It's inspiring to see both Mark and Elon taking on the martial arts journey. I look forward to training with both of them in the months and years to come." Zuckerberg posted a video on Instagram training with jiu-jitsu fighter Mikey Musumeci, saying, quote, "Great learning from jiu-jitsu legend Mikey Musumeci and starting to prepare for our MMA debuts." Zuckerberg has been training jiu-jitsu for over a year and won gold and silver medals in a tournament held in May in Woodside, California. Accomplished MMA fighter George St. Pierre offered to train Musk in a tweet in which Musk replied, "Okay, let's do it." Musk's mother, May Musk, is against the fight and advised Elon in a tweet to, quote, fight with words only. She also responded to recent photos of Musk training with Friedman, saying, quote, sorry, I can't like this. UFC President Dana White told TMZ on June 22nd that he has spoken with both Zuckerberg and Musk and that they are both, quote, absolutely dead serious. White went on to say that the fight would be the biggest in the history of the world. White was also seen on Twitter sporting a Zuckerberg versus Musk t-shirt. If a fight does happen, there's been talk about it being held in Las Vegas, but so far, an official announcement has not been made. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
In a recent city council meeting in a rich beach town in California, terrified and angry residents urged the city leaders to address homelessness and public safety.
The promenade, the library, they've turned into absolute hellholes.
Even though crime and homelessness weren't on the Santa Monica City Council's agenda, over a dozen Santa Monica residents still brought their concerns to the council. Residents said the increase in crime has left some fearful to walk the streets.
A homeless woman ran out to the road and started pounding on my car violently. She removed her clothing. My son went to school. He saw two homeless people defecating.
But you cannot go to California Pizza Kitchen. You can't do the pier. Some of you already carry public spray, safety spray when you walk the streets in Santa Monica. Think about that. You're elected officials, and you have to carry pepper spray.
I'm here this evening on behalf of several large hotel operators in Santa Monica to plead for your help in addressing what's become an unattainable situation of homelessness, crime, harassment, and filthy conditions on Ocean Avenue and in Palisades Park.
There are many celebrities who have lived in Santa Monica. Among them are Tom Cruise, Sandra Bullock, and David Beckham. But over the years, the city has been in decline, and actors have moved out or in the process of moving out.
And we know many people in our neighborhood, which is 90402, who don't want to live here anymore. They want to move. They want to move to Arizona, Nevada, Texas, Florida. They don't really want to move, but they feel like it's a lousy deal here.
A point-in-time count conducted in January reported there are close to 1,000 homeless people in Santa Monica. Several residents voiced their frustration.
Stop coddling homeless, vagrants, and mentally ill. It is not fair to the people who pay taxes and who live here.
We're all liberal, democratic people for the most part here. It's gone too far. The homeless people should not be running the city.
The city spends an estimated $42.5 million a year on homeless services and programs. And the city website says that crimes are lower than pre-pandemic levels in Santa Monica. A senior lead officer at any law enforcement agency should be able to set the tone for fair and equal treatment of all members in the community. However, one of those lead officers in Southern California did not live up to the high standards of her department. NTD's Christina Corona tells us more from LA's San Fernando Valley.
Addressing homelessness requires patience, compassion, and understanding, and can sometimes even lead to arrest. But one LAPD officer wanted to start a homeless encampment cleanup by first taking unhoused people into custody. The cleanup was postponed today in the Los Angeles suburb of West Hills. The delay was the result of an email written by LAPD Senior Lead Officer Brittany Gutierrez, which was composed on June 14th and leaked yesterday via Twitter. The email was posted by William Good on his @FilmThePoliceLA Twitter account. The email states everyone will be arrested and their belongings will be taken away by sanitation. The email also says, as always, do not approach these individuals experiencing homelessness. I want to make sure all are there at the encampment on the 29th so I can arrest them. This is a hush-hush task force. LA Mayor Karen Bass said, I was horrified by the email. We've done at least 20 inside safe operations, and so the spirit of that email is the exact opposite of what we believe in. Initially, the cleanup was part of an operation called Care Plus and conducted by LA Sanitation and Environment. LAPD Chief Michael Moore said, quote, our presence in these encampments is not to arrest these individuals or somehow capture people. He added, "Quite the contrary. We're there to provide for the safety of the sanitation workers, the outreach workers, as well as the persons who are there who are homeless." The LAPD issued a statement saying the email was highly inappropriate and does not in any way represent the department's values, policies, or practices related to people experiencing homelessness. They also issued a statement saying the officer who wrote the email will be provided extensive training by LAPD's Homeless Coordinator's Office. "We hold to a high standard our sworn police officers. We expect them to protect and serve our communities. Unfortunately, one of those police officers has reportedly not lived up to those high standards." Christina Corona, NTD News, Los Angeles.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at some of the hot stories when we come back. A mini heat wave over the holiday weekend has the fire officials worried. Cal Fire unveils new wildfire response tools, while workers clear out overgrown forests. Summer travels are in full swing as the 4th of July approaches. AAA forecasts a busy weekend for travelers. And California is no longer home to the most expensive gas. Another state has taken the #1 spot for the highest average prices. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. California's cool and breezy days may soon be replaced by the first of the several heat waves on Saturday and Sunday. But forecasts say the heat won't last long, as the area should start to cool off again on Monday.
According to the National Weather Service, people can expect the season's first heat wave this weekend. While Southern California's Los Angeles and Orange counties are expecting highs in the mid-80s for the weekend, Lancaster and Palmdale could reach 106 degrees. The San Francisco Bay Area is also expecting a warmer weekend, with temperatures reaching 90 degrees or above in the inland areas. The Weather Service's meteorologist David Sweet told the Epoch Times that a high-pressure system is moving into the area from the east. The hot streak experienced by Texans and New Mexicans earlier this week will spread westward and reach Southern California by the weekend. The National Weather Service recommends limiting time outdoors and staying hydrated by drinking water. Also, be sure not to leave infants or pets inside cars.
As the state heads into a hot holiday weekend, state fire officials are worried about potential wildfires. Cal Fire announced today that they are upping their firefighting technology, while forest workers are thinning forests to lessen wildfire dangers. Let's take a look.
Governor Gavin Newsom and state fire officials held a press conference on Thursday to outline the state's work in preparing for potential wildfires.
The abundant rain has produced tall grass and other vegetation that's dried out already and is ready to burn. As the conditions warm and dry and we see over 100-degree temperatures in the Sacramento area over the weekend, the sources of fuel for wildfire are becoming more susceptible to burning.
New this year is Cal Fire's fleet of Firehawks. These helicopters can fly at night for air attacks and quickly refill their water tanks while hovering. Newsom said California will eventually grow its Firehawk fleet to 12 to 16 helicopters in the future.
Look at some of the tools and the technologies you see behind me. None of them existed just 5 years ago. Maybe the S2s did in terms of being the backbone of the fleet, but certainly not the Firehawks.
The governor also pointed to other technology that Cal Fire will rely on, including LiDAR mapping, 24/7 satellite tracking, and using AI generative predictive modeling. Fire Chief Tyler says the agency will be fully staffed going into the weekend with engines, bulldozers, aircraft, and hand crews. And as Cal Fire ups its technology to fight fires from the skies, other organizations are on the ground working to clear the forest ground.
We're trying to reduce the threat of large-scale wildfires by reducing the number of trees across the national forests in the western U.S. When there's too much fuel or vegetation, then that creates larger, more intense wildfires. The other thing that's happening is we're having more intense drought, and in a lot of cases, less precipitation, which stresses the trees and creates a situation where they're weakened.
After work on the Tahoe area was delayed last year, Forest Service crews and contractors are now taking down trees across thousands of acres. But the efforts have drawn criticism from some environmentalists and locals who say too many trees are getting cut down.
We're asking the Forest Service to make their treatments lighter, to focus on smaller trees and shrubs, leave the larger trees, and ensure that the scenery and recreation opportunities that people enjoy along the North Yuba River are protected.
In the end, officials hope that by lessening forest fuels, they can keep fires that originate on federal lands from exploding to nearby cities and towns. State fire officials also emphasized that help from residents is key in preventing fire danger, especially ahead of the holiday weekend.
Speaking of the holiday weekend, we have some good news for the inflation weary this 4th of July. The Independence Day Cookout is going to be a bit more affordable than it was last year. A survey from the American Farm Bureau Federation says families can expect to pay under $68 for a 10-person cookout. That's down 3% from last year's record high. The estimated cookout price included 12 staple items. Hamburger buns, beef, and potato salad were up in price this year. But chicken breast, lemonade, and chocolate chip cookies saw price drops. Last year's average July 4th barbecue cost was almost $70. While it's nearly $2 less this year, it's still the second highest on record. While some are getting ready for cookouts, others are out on the road. AAA is forecasting a record-breaking travel weekend going to the 4th of July holiday. Here's the travel forecast, along with some tips for everyone making the holiday trek.
Independence Day is just around the corner, and the travel forecast is set to be hot.
AAA is predicting that nearly 51 million Americans will travel for the 4th of July weekend, and that's an all-time record for us.
AAA's blockbuster forecast predicts that of those 50.7 million travelers who will venture more than 50 miles from home, more than 40 million will go by car.
Friday is going to be the worst day for driving because everyone's going to be on the road at that time. So you can leave Thursday night or Saturday morning. That would be ideal.
And with gas prices holding steady, spokesperson Andrew Gross doesn't anticipate much pain at the pump.
As oil prices have dropped, the price at the pump has dropped too. So whereas last year people may have been paying $4.80 to $5 a gallon, now they're going to be paying $3.50 or less in most places.
But the same can't be said for the record 4.2 million flyers set to take off this weekend. Airfare is up as much as 50% over last year. To avoid the inevitable trouble in the terminal, Gross says to travel early, travel light, and stay informed.
Get to the airport on time, have the airlines app on your phone so you can check and see if there are any gate changes.
And if you've got more travel plans ahead, be prepared. This season isn't cooling down.
I think this is a real scene setter for what we're going to see for the rest of summer. If the 4th of July is really packed, then probably the rest of summer travel is really going to be robust.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And some good news for those who plan to travel by car this weekend. According to recent data from AAA, California's gas prices are no longer the highest in the nation. Let's see who is now in the #1 spot.
The American Automobile Association, or AAA, released data showing the state of Washington now has the most expensive average gas prices in the nation. As of June 28th, a gallon of regular grade gasoline in California now averages $4.83, but Washington state now sits at $4.98 after jumping 36 cents over the past month. While fuel prices in Washington have historically been higher than the national average, some experts are pointing to its newly imposed Cap and Invest carbon pricing program as the reason for the recent spike in prices. The program is designed to limit greenhouse gas emissions and is similar to California's cap and trade regulations. AAA says the national average currently sits at $3.55, a 5-cent increase from last month. The Southeast region offers the lowest prices, with Mississippi recording the cheapest gas in the country at $2.98 as of June 28th. While Californians are currently no longer paying the most for gas, economists say the news will be likely short-lived, as the Golden State has historically been the most expensive, and the annual price hike for summer blend gas is set to start on July 1st.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castile for our sports roundup.
Thanks, David. I'm Tyler Castillo, taking you through California Today's Sports Roundup.
Yesterday, the first round of the NHL draft took place, and I am here to give a review of what happened. First off, the Anaheim Ducks shocked everyone when they took Leo Carlsson over the projected second overall pick of Adam Fantilli. It was later reported that Fantilli expressed that he wanted to be selected to Columbus, which they took him. The San Jose Sharks selected center Will Smith at 4th overall. An expected pick, as reports came out earlier that Smith visited San Jose recently. Sharks fans can expect a star playmaker as Smith explains himself.
I think my playmaking, that's what kind of makes my game, is my vision and my hockey sense. So when I think that's rolling, it's when I'm at my best. Yeah, I mean, my playmaking, my 200-foot play is what I want to hone in on and show the most.
Now, the Sharks' second first-round pick, which was the 26th selection, was used to select left winger Quentin Musty. Here at California Today, Musty shares what type of player he is and what Sharks fans should expect of him.
No player's perfect, but yeah, just for me, become more explosive and just working on my skating. I think I got a lot of good. I think I got a good skill set, and just with my playmaking and shot, and also I think just being more of a complete player, and I think that's what I've been working on, and I've been getting better on my 2 years in the OHL.
As with most prospects, the excitement for their new team begins with their new location.
Yeah, I mean, pretty far. I've never been to California. I'm super excited to get there and check it out. But yeah, from what I've heard, it's a great spot.
The LA Kings did not have a first-round pick as they traded it to Columbus as part of the Jonas Korpisalo trade. Stay tuned as I will continue to review the rest of the rounds 2 through 7 of the NHL draft next time.
I'm Tyler Castillo, and that was today's Sports Roundup. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Tyler. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with the friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gunjin World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.